This is my voice, 1 day, on anime. This is my voice, 1 year on anime! これはアニメじゃねえか私の声です! If you remember about a year or two ago, I made a video talking about the only 3 animes that I watched unironically as a non-anime fan. Since that video, the tides have motherfucking turned, my friend. I'm a borderline weeaboo now, and I have since doubled the amount of anime that I've seen, bringing me to a total of 6, not including Pokemon. Today, I'll be going through each of the 3 that I've seen in the past year and a half, and giving my thoughts on them. I'm your host, MattCMG, and let's get weird, let's get wild, and let's get right in to 3 more anime that I watch unironically as a non-anime fan. One Punch! Even if you're not into anime, chances are that you've heard of One Punch Man. Saitama has such a simple design that even people who have never seen an anime in their life can probably tell you, hey, that's One Punch Man. If you're somehow unfamiliar with One Punch Man though, here is the rundown. Saitama was once a regular guy with no purpose in life, but after saving a little kid from a giant crab monster, he decided to become a hero, so he trained for 3 years straight, and now he's a godlike being with still no purpose in life. His training made him so powerful that he can kill even the biggest and baddest of Lovecraftian creatures with a single punch, and that's not even at his full power. This dude is godlike, and that is putting it lightly. He is so powerful that the regular enemies of Earth are like flies to him. Most of the show follows Saitama in his search for any opponent who can give him a genuine challenge, and that's where a lot of the conflict of the show comes from. If you came here looking for something that's super serious and deep, you're probably not going to find it, at least not in every episode, because this show is a comedy above anything else. Most of the jokes come from everyone else's reactions to how casually Saitama obliterates these world-ending foes. Additionally, there's this kind of dramatic irony present in the show where Saitama comes in to save the day, but he lets the other heroes take the credit at the expense of his own public image, which I think makes him a true hero. However, Saitama doesn't take up all the screen time, as a lot of the appeal of the show comes from the side characters, many of which are parodies of these common superhero tropes. Genos, for instance, is a parody of these edgy shonen protagonists with dark backstories. Speed of Sound Sonic is your typical Vegeta-esque rival, and many of the S-class heroes are just walking jokes. There are some very serious characters in there too, like Moomin Rider and Boros, and others that are a little bit less serious but still very enjoyable, like Tornado. Ooh, Tatsumaki, you are top-tier waifu material, if I do say so myself. Your sister can come too. On a different note, I have said in the past that Dragon Ball is the ultimate motivator. That was before I watched One Punch Man. You know, from the opening with its One Punch! To Saitama's training routine, to the acts of absolute heroism throughout the show just oozes testosterone. Like, you watch this opening and tell me you don't want to do 100 push-ups. Do it. I dare you. This show did what even Dragon Ball couldn't and got me to work out consistently for a little while. I kind of, fell off after I got caught up with the series, but I was doing like 65 push-ups, crunches, and squats a day. Now I'm back to being lazy, but the intros both serve as great motivators, though Season 1 I'd say is significantly better than Season 2 in that department. In fact, let's talk about that whole debacle while we're at it. Before I started watching, longtime One Punch Man fans have pointed out that the second season is a major step down from the first. And I can definitely see why they'd think that. Season 1 was much more episodic and had a much lighter tone. There wasn't much story and the focus was mostly on Saitama. Season 2 took all those elements and kind of got rid of them. There's an ongoing plot now, which I don't mind, but with that they have to keep writing Saitama out of his own show to keep things tense, and they shift the focus to all these side characters that I honestly don't care enough about to follow for this long. Like, for example, I don't have a problem with characters like Metal Bat, but he shouldn't be the focus of 3 episodes of a show called One Punch Man. If they focused on Genos or Silverfang or somebody more relevant to the whole Garo conflict, then I'd be more okay with this, but they didn't do that. That's not to say that Season 2 was bad, it was still enjoyable, but it isn't as good as the first season. I can't exactly speak for the animation because I didn't really notice much of a difference between the two. In case you don't know, they switched to a new animation studio for the second season, and it's fine. I didn't really notice it much because there was like a month gap between when I finished Season 1 and started Season 2, but it definitely felt off. The animation didn't really bother me though, but I can see why people say it looks and feels off, because it does. One Punch Man Season 1 just has a certain vibe that the second season hasn't captured. Nevertheless, I definitely became a One Punch fan semi-recently, and I'm hopeful that a third season can live up to the first, if it happens at all. I'm not sure. I don't keep up to date on this stuff.
Okay.
Son Goku Natenshi no Yone Shounen Yoshin wa ni nare! Neon Genesis Evangelion is a show that I got into because of memes. Don't get me wrong, this is definitely up there with Dragon Ball as one of the most influential anime of all time. It did a lot for the industry and is a certified classic, but the power of memes trumps all. The intro song, A Cruel Angel's Thesis, is the generic anime intro song that you've probably seen in memes everywhere, with parodies of it from Drake and Josh to King of the Hill. It's a great meme song. Memes like that were what put this show on my radar years ago, but I never got around to watching it until recently when the Netflix dub came out. I did not watch the Netflix dub. I've heard that it wasn't as good as the original dub or the original Japanese, but all this discussion about it online was what finally pushed me to give it a shot. I, allegedly illegally downloaded the old ADV dub of the series and watched it over the course of about a week. I probably would have been better off watching the show in Japanese subbed, but I just got off One Punch Man and I didn't feel like reading subtitles anymore. The story follows Shinji Ikari, a 14-year-old boy who gets contacted by his distant father to work for him at his organization. His new job? Pilot the Evangelion, a giant robot designed to combat these Lovecraftian monsters known as angels. Along the way, he meets a cast of strange and mysterious characters like Misato, Rei, Asuka, Kaji, and a ton of others. I would say more about the plot, but then I'd be getting into spoiler territory, and this show works best when you don't really have any idea what you're getting into. What I will say, though, is that the show takes a really weird tonal shift about halfway through. The first half of this show seems like your generic episodic shonen anime. You know, our hero fights a villain of the week, learns a new skill, gets stronger, but at a certain point it gets really philosophical and surprisingly deep. In fact, I'd say this might be one of the deepest shows I've ever seen, and I don't use the term deep lightly. Again, I don't want to say too much because this show works so much better when you go in completely blind. Now I want to quickly go over how to watch this series because it's more than just a watch it and be done with it kind of thing. There's a certain way you need to watch it if you want to truly understand and experience the series. To start watching Evangelion, just watch episodes 1 through 20 completely normally as you would for any other show, but then you're going to want to get your hands on the director's cut episodes of episodes 21 through 24, watch them, and then watch the last 2 episodes as normal. Now you may be thinking, what's the deal with that ending at episode 26? Well, that is what End of Evangelion is for. End of Evangelion is a movie that serves as the true ending for the series, you know, as the name suggests. The ending we see in the series itself is more of a happy-ish kind of ending that resolves the characters and kind of ends all of their arcs, while the movie ending is the true lore-based ending. There are some really weird ways I've seen of watching this show that involve, like, you know, pausing halfway through episodes and like skipping some episodes entirely, but I just did the simplest way I could, so there's the MattCMG guide to watching Neon Genesis Evangelion. There's also the rebuild films that seem to be a happier retelling of the original story, but I didn't watch those because I didn't need to, but they seem fun, so I might give them a shot in the future. You can probably get away with watching the Netflix dub, but to my knowledge, they don't have the director's cut episodes, and there are some key scenes that Netflix either altered significantly or just straight up removed completely. If you do end up watching the Netflix version, though, do not, under any circumstances, hit the skip intro button. I'm pretty sure skipping the Evangelion intro is punishable by death in some states. Also, if you do plan on watching Evangelion, be prepared to be depressed. There's like maybe 1 or 2 genuinely happy episodes in this show. The rest is just depressing. In my research, I've read that your enjoyment of this show is directly proportional to how sad you are in real life. The sadder you are, the more you'll enjoy it. So have fun, you depressed fucks. This video is just to serve as an introduction to the series so you can all experience them the way I did, but this is a show that I definitely want to do a video on at some point in the future because there's a lot to talk about here. I'm just not quite sure on what yet because there's a lot of angles to go with this series from. Neon Genesis Evangelion is one of the few shows in recent years that made me feel genuine emotions, and I think that you should give it a shot too. It's only 26 episodes in a movie, so it's really not that hard to get into. You might need to watch some YouTube video essays afterwards to understand it, but I'd say it was worth it in the long run. And just so you guys know my stance on this, every girl in Evangelion is best girl. Except for Misato. Misato is top tier waifu.
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
I'm not gonna lie, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure certainly lives up to its name. It's quite bizarre, and that's an understatement. Now, this anime is popular enough to where I don't think I need to explain it to you in depth, but in case you haven't seen it, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure is about various members of the Joestar family throughout history and their journeys to protect the world from these vampiric creatures, at least in the first 2 seasons. The series is divided into different parts, where each one follows a new generation of the Joestar family. We start with Jonathan Joestar, then to his grandson Joseph Joestar, then Jotaro Kujo, we got our boy Giorno Giovanno, you get the point. Their names all start with Jo, so all of them go by the nickname Jojo. pretty clever. But like I said, most of you have probably already seen JoJo's, and it's that popularity that makes me kind of not like it. I never said I had to be positive in these videos, alright? I can not like the show. I mean, I like it, but I don't really like it. Don't get me wrong, I like what I've seen of this show so far and will definitely continue watching it, but the fan base just really overblows how good it actually is. Like, it's good, it's certainly one of the better animes out there right now in the mainstream, but it's not that good. Every conversation with a JoJo fan goes as follows.
Hey man, do you watch anime at all? Oh yeah, I watch a little bit of anime.
Yo, my dude, do you watch JoJo's?
Oh yeah, I've seen JoJo's. It's pretty alright.
No, but like, have you seen JoJo's though?
Yeah, dude, I've seen JoJo's. We've established this. I've already seen JoJo's.
Bro, JoJo's is so good. Have you seen JoJo's, bro?
Dude, can you relax?
Is that a motherfucking JoJo reference? Wow!
It's gonna be like this all day, isn't it?
In my opinion, JoJo's is overrated, but still really good. I've only seen parts 1 and 2 as I'm writing this video, so I don't know if it gets better or worse or what, but from what I've seen so far, it's aight. I wasn't a huge fan of Jonathan Joestar. I found him to be a little boring, typical selfless hero type. Nothing wrong with that kind of character. Some of the best protagonists of all time have been that type of character, but I just wasn't a fan of it here. Dio was pretty cool though. He's the kind of villain who doesn't really have any true ulterior motives. He's just kind of evil for the sake of it, and we really don't see enough villains like that these days. He's edgy, and I like edgy. I wasn't all that into part 1, but part 2 is where I really started enjoying the series. I found Joseph Joestar to be way more compelling and interesting than his predecessor, though I think a lot of JoJo fans would probably disagree with me. He's still a very heroic type like his grandfather, but he's got a little more nuance to him in that he's very cocky and is a major trickster, which I think makes him way more interesting. He's much more strategic and unpredictable, which makes his fights very fun to watch. Speaking of the fights in this show, these things are a wild ride. In part 2 especially, there are so many twists and turns in such a short time that it almost makes it hard to follow. The best way I could think of to describe it is like back on the playground playing pretend when you're a kid, and someone's like, I shot you with my laser, and you come out with, ha, joke's on you, I'm wearing my laser-proof armor. And then the other kid's like, ha, you buffoon, my lasers are immune to laser proofing. And it becomes a back and forth of just trying to one-up each other. That's pretty much what a JoJo fight is, and by God is it entertaining. I find the pacing in this show really weird. Like, they will linger on some things for way too long and then skip over some really important stuff that should not have been skipped over. For instance, I feel like they should have shown more of Jonathan's hormone training in part 1, and maybe shortened some of the stuff against Dio's minions, while in part 2, I could have really done without the San Viento portion, and I would have liked to see a bit more of slice of life kind of stuff in the beginning to really see how the continuing characters have changed during the time skip, while also getting to know the new JoJo a little bit better, because I feel like the first few episodes of part 2 didn't really do a great job of solidifying Joseph's true personality. These are minor issues and I can live with them, but hey, maybe the manga's like that. I don't know. I don't read the manga, because I'm not a nerd. To finish this section off, if it's one good thing that came out of JoJo's popularity, it's the memes. So many good memes or potential for meme templates, it's glorious. In all seriousness though, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is certainly a wild ride, and I can only assume that as it goes on and I continue on to parts 3 and onwards, it's only going to get more and more, dare I say it, bizarre.
Jotaro Kujo, when he jacks off, be like,
Oh no. So those have been 3 more anime series that I've watched unironically, which brings me up to a total of 7, including the ones in the last video and Pokemon. There are certainly some notable ones that I want to try out at some point in the future, like, Death Note or maybe Tokyo Ghoul because I'm edgy, and, I hear Fullmetal Alchemist is pretty good. So I welcome you guys to leave your suggestions in the comments below for what you think I should watch next, as well as what you thought of my opinions on the animes that I talked about in this video. If you want to see more videos like this, then smash that like button, and if you want to see me chronicle my experiences with any future anime that I decide to watch, then be sure to hit that subscribe button. That's all for this video. I've been MattCMG. I'll see y'all next time. Thanks for watching.
Now you